Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Okay, so the market has recently closed for the week of April the 1st. Happy April Fool's Day to all you practical jokers out there. I'm not much of a practical joker myself. Yeah, right. I love it. I love Practical Joke Day. I didn't really see anything good today on Practical Joke front. Not like last year when Michael Strahan did filled in the gap teeth. That was actually a pretty good one. But let's talk about the markets, okay? The past 2-3 weeks have been very telling, I think, for going into the future. All right. Obviously, I didn't plan on the move being this strong. Okay. So, fine, fair enough. Let's just adjust how we're thinking and how we're looking about things, okay? So, this is probably not going to be an ABC pattern, right? That we have this a B down to here, and then a C somewhere up to here. I don't think that's going to be the case now. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And I will pull up a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. We'll start down here and do a 1, a 2. This is probably, I actually think in this current move, that's not the 3. I think we're going to pull back right there. We'll go hit a 3 here. We'll come back down, hit like a 4, and then go hit a 5. Something kind of like that. So I think we'll do something like that. This 3 actually might be off to the side a little bit more. Something like that. 4 probably out there. And 5 will be probably a little bit more off to the side. Maybe late May, early June, something like that. But there's another wave count, a 5 wave count that's kind of going on that I think we're going to hit soon. So here is the start, and here's a 1, here's a 2. The top that we hit on Tuesday is a 3. This little pullback that we got, I believe, is a 4. I believe we'll go hit a 5, probably wherever this 3 winds up being on that longer term trend. So wherever that winds up being, I think that'll be a 5, and we'll probably get a little bit deeper pullback here in the 4. And really what I would be looking for is on this 4, it could come all the way back down to where that 200 moving average. And if we snap and just get below and go straight down and get below this point right here, I would think that would be a very strong buy spot to go into this 5. On the longer term, or not on the longer term, but a little bit of a longer term. So that is how I kind of see this playing out. There's kind of multiple waves kind of going on right now. I do think we'll get a short-term rally over the next week or two as we're going to bounce off these moving averages that are coming up, this 10 moving average. So that's how the SPY is looking for now. The other thing is I'm going to clean up some of this. So this trend line, I do not think is relevant, so I'm going to get rid of it. As we scale, as we go out to like a weekly chart, we'll see we got a lot of things kind of going on here. So I want to clean up some of this also, especially some of this downtrend stuff, as we have kind of worked our way through a lot of that. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the end of this impulse wave up, just go ahead and get rid of that. We do have this longer term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this red one. Just go ahead and get rid of that. So we're just going to look really at what's going on in the future. And the reason why I wanted to get rid of some of that is so we can now look at the monthly. So as we look at the monthly, I'm just going to go and get rid of that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We can see that March bullish engulfing on a monthly over February. Okay, so I, at the end of last month, said whenever we do get this monthly close below the 10 EMA on a monthly, we usually do see more downside. Now, everything works, just not all the time. Okay? And this might be one of the times that it doesn't work, right? Because we had a time back over here in May 2019 where we closed below it, but then continued higher a few months later. So it's one of those things that, okay, you know what, maybe you got me this one time, it's fine. We are coming into a late bullish cycle, so we do need to recognize that there are going to be the opportunities to take those shorts, but realize when the market says, no, we're going to keep going higher, then don't try to fight the market, man. Wherever the market direction goes, you just follow, man. You just hitch your trailer to it. The market pushes things around and you just hit your trailer. That's all you can do. You can't drive the market. That is not your job. You let the market tell you where it's going to go and you just hop on board. You're bandwagon. You know, I was a little bit wrong on this one. I'm gonna admit I was wrong. I'm a trader. That's what happens in trading. You know, you're wrong. It didn't kill me that I was wrong. I didn't go bankrupt. That's the other point. Is, you know, you want to use your stop losses. And the other thing is I should have mentioned this past couple of weeks, is when you start to get really choppy time periods like this, and when you're using options, you want to go out farther in time. Okay? You want to go out really far. Like when I was looking at some of this stuff, I was going out with puts long term. That way that when this rolled back down and started bouncing back up and I got stopped out, I didn't really get stopped out for that much of a loss. Okay, so you want to go out farther in time on options. That is crucial to protecting yourself in potential bear markets, late cycle moves, that kind of thing. Going out further in time really helps protect your ability to analyze what the market's doing and potentially pivot positions and those kinds of things, okay? I did mention last week possibly the SPY would get above these 2 points and then watch out for that pullback, so that was it. I did start buying into this pullback as I am looking for that 5 up before we get a more significant little correction down, probably hit this 200 moving average and then continue up on a longer term type of move just like this. Okay, so that's my kind of game plan going forward, and that's how I'm going to look to play it. I am playing longer term positions because the market has been choppy. I'm not really playing much on the short term. For some of the very few short term positions I've had on recently, those positions have not been doing well, as it's very difficult to manage them, especially like Tesla. So let's look at Tesla real quick. So I did pull on a bearish position like right here, and it was working out okay. And then they came out and said, oh, by the way, or it was reported that they were going to look to split the stock again, second time in like 2 or 3 years, and potentially do a dividend. So that was obviously very bullish, and that pretty much killed my position. So that's kind of the issue when you do short-term positions like that, okay? While we're here on Tesla, I'm going to do a little bit of analysis here. Tesla looks extremely good. And for me to say that, and there are people that know that I'm not exactly the biggest Tesla bull, okay? They are at extremely elevated valuation levels. So for me to say what I'm about to say, it doesn't hurt. It's just one of those things that I just recognize the opportunities before me, okay? So let me show you what the weekly has done. We have kind of just sideways pulled back here. That looks very much like a flag pattern. And let me turn off the drawings. Let me turn it all off. There we go. We have what very much looks like a long flag pattern down ever since like November that we've gotten. And it was pretty profitable shorting Tesla during this area just because some of these moves were pretty dramatic. Now, but it wasn't like some like downward pressure. Like I was really wanting to see some of this, but continuation and that kind of thing. But now we got just what looks like a flag pattern to me. It was a very long one, very several month flag pattern. So we go to a monthly, I think it's about 4 months, 3 months long. Yeah. I mean, it's just a 3-month flag pattern. I would look for it to continue higher. And this is going to sound nuts, but this TSLA can get absolutely crazy parabolic coming up. This thing's going to get really stupid. So do not look to short this. Or if you do, you know, look for your ins and outs, be small, be flexible, realize when you're wrong, and you know, just protect your capital. But this past 4-day move, and if we compare that to what the SPY did, I mean, the SPY pulled down pretty hard. Even if we look at the Qs, and we'll talk about the Qs here in a sec, but look at the Qs, they pulled down pretty good right into the 10 EMA today. But Tesla, that's kind of like more sideways, very much more sideways. So as the market starts to turn and push higher, I would expect Tesla to absolutely rip higher. We're gonna have to see what pullbacks look like on this thing, but they're gonna be buying opportunities. They're not gonna be like head for the hills, get it out, sell opportunities. They're gonna be buying opportunities. This thing is gonna get nuts over the next several months to maybe even a year. So just ride the wave, okay? But on Tesla, you know, I can very easily see a 1, 2, 3, probably a 4 into like right there, and a 5 is going to extend probably up into the all-time high area coming up real soon. Do not be scared of how dumb this thing will get, because it's going to get dumb. But it is what it is. I mean, that's the market. It overdoes things to the upside and overdoes things to the downside. It just is what it is. You just got to work with what you got. So I did actually change out my position. Actually, on this gap up, the position I did have, it was a bear vertical option spread, which when this gap up happened, it pretty much killed the value on it. I wasn't really able to do anything. I just let it go because the value was so cheap. I figured if it crashed, it crashed. But so what I started doing, I've started looking and buying some long-term, like January 2023 call options, okay? Because this thing can really soar here over the next few months. The other thing that's been kind of cautionary on the market here recently has been semiconductors. So if we look at AMD, the past 2-3 days has been very hard selling. NVDA as well really started to sell off past 3 days. Intel sold off hard over the past 3 days. If we look at Micron had earnings this week, and they sold off really hard. So if we just look at the XSD, which is a semiconductor ETF, past 3 days very much look very, very weak. But I wouldn't expect much weakness going forward. But I do think that is a telltale sign. If semiconductors underperform the market over the next several months, as the market probably does go and get an all-time high, so like on the SPY, I do think over the next several months to the end of the year, we'll probably push to an all-time high, and probably maybe even make it like up into this area, 5,000 on the S&P 500, 500 area on the SPY, probably even higher than that. I wouldn't look for strength in semiconductors. It doesn't look like they're going to be that strong in this late cycle, and that's going to be very telling as we do get into this late cycle bull market, that if the semiconductors underperform, they usually do lead bull and bear markets. So we're going to have to watch that, as it could be a very strong indicator for how we can position later this year, okay? But for now, I think we'll be full steam ahead. So let's go in real quick, look at the Qs. The Qs, it's one of those things that this 3 could very much be the bottom of this morning, where the Russia attack Ukraine morning, and then the 4 could be this candle right here. And let me realign it. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. It doesn't make it look any real different, about right, and that might be the better way to actually draw that out. But I do like this because it lines up more with the SPY, okay? Now, for the current track that we are on, this is very interesting because we haven't really had a pullback on the Qs. There's been a lot of strong buying on the Qs. I would imagine as we go into this late bull market cycle for the end of the year, I would imagine the Qs get bought up pretty hard. Technology gets bought up pretty hard. They've been sold off really hard. They got a lot of buying that came in over the past couple weeks. So I would imagine the Qs and technology get bought up extremely hard as people look at discounts. People trying to find discounts, and they've been hit really hard. So they're discounted a little bit. but I would look for tech and the Qs to continue to have growth over the SPY, and that will probably continue on into the end of the year. I did pick up positions on the Qs and did buy positions on the Qs on this pullback pretty much past 3 days, as I was looking for a pullback into this 10 EMA, and then we'll push probably higher, consolidate a little bit, and then really get going again probably May. April's probably going to be a choppy month, as we've had a strong March, end of March, so we'll probably continue up here a little bit for the beginning of April. We'll probably come back down, retest a little bit, and then probably start to continue higher, and then May into June probably just go and continue higher. But I would imagine we'll probably be hitting all-time highs probably May, June. And then once that happens, with how many people are probably short in the marketplace, because I was trying to short, but this move over the past like 2-3 weeks was just too strong. Sometimes you just got to realize when you're wrong. I was wrong. I admit it. Not a big deal. You know, that's the game, you know. You recognize when you're wrong. You recognize when things aren't going to work out. You know, you just hit your trailer to a new car. That's all you do, okay? I would be looking to be long. We'll probably push higher here over the next week or two, and then I would look for a little bit bigger of a pullback on Qs and SPY before we potentially start heading back really in a strong bullish direction in May and June. That's what I will be looking for. Alrighty, take care, Alpha Hunters.